Hello, I'm Nicole, though most people call me Smash. I'm a skater with Terminal City Roller Derby. Over the last year, I've been making the documentary series about my league, Terminal City, and about its historic rise, fall, and rebirth over the past 2 decades. But there's another story I wanted to tell as well, and one that I felt deserved its own standalone episode, and that's the story of Rolla Skate Club. So Rolla Skate Club is very near and dear to my heart because it's where I first learned how to roller skate, and a number of the current skaters at Terminal City also first learned how to roller skate there too. As well, the co-founders of Rolla Skate Club, Lulu Demon and Busy or Business Time, they also are former Terminal City skaters who used to skate with TCRD before they opened Rolla. I think Rolla is an amazing community to be a part of, and so I wanted to share their story too. So Rolla Skate Club is I guess you could call it a roller skating gym slash party center that's in East Vancouver. It's a facility where you can go and you can learn how to roller skate.
The core of Rolla Skate Club is community, and a community that is connected by physical movement. The thing that I love about where Rolla Skate Club has evolved to is that physical movement can really look like whatever you want. I was not a physically confident kid growing up. And even in my mid-20s, we get so many messages about how our bodies should look. And like roller derby for me was such a safe space to move and be physical and connect with people. And I think, Rolla Skate Club has become that for so many people.
I basically started at Rolla because I was bored and I was getting out of shape and I needed a hobby. I kind of almost got peer pressured into doing the derby boot camp, which I did. Someone thought I could do it and I believed them, and then I just kept showing up for other people, and then it was almost just showing up for myself.
It's really hard to learn how to skate. Like when I was first learning how to skate at Rolla Skate Club, the first time I stepped on skates, I fell so many times that I had strained my forearms just from falling forward and catching myself. I found it really difficult to learn how to skate, but I did it in such a slow-paced environment that it was great.
Oh my God, it's just joy on wheels. It's exercise, but you don't even feel like you're exercising. And there's so much you can do. And then the summertime, you can just go anywhere on your wheels. Once you're confident enough, it's just freedom. Yeah.
During the pandemic, my mom started skating at Rolla, and she just really loved it, and she really convinced me to get roller skates and just kind of try it out. One of the things I actually really loved, because when I would go to classes there's such a big age range. I just love it because there are people that I normally wouldn't get a chance to have a conversation with, and so yeah, it's really fun.
Rolla Skate Club began, like a lot of great ideas, as a conversation between passionate people.
Back in 2018, I took this business course. Very interestingly, one of my derby friends, Carla Smith, who at that time was known as Booty Quake, who's now known as Business Time, she signed up to also do the same business course. We didn't coordinate to sign up for that. We just ended up doing the same one. And I remember at the end of that course, myself and Busy, we went for drinks, and we went to debrief at the end of the course. I think a few weeks later, we were driving down to a tournament in Eugene, and we called that our 18-hour business meeting because it was 9 hours there and 9 hours back. And we basically spent those 18 hours talking about Rolla Skate Club.
Rolla Skate Club launched that same year in 2018 with 100 pairs of rental roller skates and a FedEx truck that was converted into a pop-up skate-mobile.
We are 6 years old now. We have changed a lot in those 6 years. We have a full-time physical location in Vancouver. It's this beautiful space. There's 500 plus members that come and skate with us.
At Rolla, there are experienced coaches who can help you learn how to skate. And once you get good at the basics, there's 3 distinct ways to elevate your skating. So there's skate park, roller derby, or dance. Skate park is where people throw themselves up and down ramps and off and onto objects, which I personally find terrifying, but a lot of people really like it for that particular reason.
I coach a skate park, sort of intro skate park class at the local Rolla Skate Club, and I quite enjoy doing the park skating because it's very technical, but it's also got a high sort of fear factor, and so you need to have methods to overcome that, to keep the mental focus so that you don't get in your own way when trying to execute a maneuver that could actually lead to a more dangerous situation than if you were to commit to one of the tricks completely.
Sometimes in skate park it's like the terror, but it's good terror, pushing your comfort zones. But yeah, it just makes you feel really confident and like you can try new things and probably get them eventually.
Then there's skate dancing, which personally I am terrible at because I have 0 rhythm.
I primarily do dance skating or jam skating. I've been skating for about 3 years, but I've been taking classes at Rolla for about 2 years. I've been just really enjoying learning. It seems like an endless amount of moves to learn. I think skating helps a lot with my anxiety and stress from the day because it's more scary to be I could just fall at any moment if I'm not paying attention, I could just end up flat on my face. So I better be paying attention, I better be present here. And then I think when you add the element of music or just something fun and groovy to it, then you also just kind of get out of your head and you're able to just go along with, okay, the music says this, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna skate around to that. So I think it helps me definitely just feel connected and present.
Rolla hosts dance events with DJs on Saturdays and Sundays that are open to the public, so anyone who wants to try out roller skating can do so in a fun environment. Even me, with 2 left feet, has gone and had a blast at these events. But that being said, my all-time favorite discipline offered at Rolla is the short track roller derby program. So there are 3 types of roller derby that you'd probably encounter, whether you're watching it or seeing it in a movie or playing it in Vancouver. First, there's bank track roller derby, which is played on those sort of raised diagonal tracks. People are zipping around in circles. There's also flat track, which is basically bank track, except that they've completely flattened that track, and so you're just zipping around on the level ground. And then there's short track roller derby, which is relatively new.
So myself and Busy invented short track roller derby. It was definitely born of that 18-hour business meeting that we have where we were if we were to create this sport again, how would we create this sport with accessibility being the #1 most important thing? What if we could create a sport and a community that was truly inclusive, that was truly about taking all of the beautiful parts of roller derby, the inclusivity, the welcoming space, the safe space to be physical as a woman and be supported by your community. What if we could take all those pieces and take them away from the current structures and create our own structure for it?
Lulu and Busy looked at what they felt didn't work in modern flat track roller derby and introduce those solutions in short track. So for example, a normal sized flat track is so large that it's really hard to find venues to play in. You need a hockey arena or bigger. But a short track fits inside a normal sized basketball court at a community center. A flat track game requires about 40-something people to run, 2 teams of 15, and an officiating crew of at least 10 volunteers. Since short track has a smaller track, it requires half the amount of players.
And then another thing that we really wanted to change was the onus on who was responsible for the fairness of the game and the safety of the game. So for me, playing the sport, I really noticed I would go to these tournaments, these pretty high-level tournaments, And depending on the reffing crew that we got, our game would be officiated very differently. So as an athlete, that's really frustrating because you train a certain way and then literally to get cold one way in the morning and cold another way in the afternoon, to the point where, you know, those games are literally being decided by the officials. And also what was interesting as well is that, so this was a women's sport, but the officials were mostly men. So it just didn't sit right with me that a lot of the outcome of the games were not being decided by the women on the track, but by the men that were telling them what to do as the officials. So we wanted to flip that, and a big part of short track is that the responsibility for fair play and safety is on the players, not the officials.
In reality, this means that short track players are responsible for noticing their own penalties and removing themselves from play. So you only need 3 officials to run a short track game instead of the 10 or so that you need to run a flat track game. So with all that in mind, here's how short track came together. It's played on an oval track, and the game is split into 2 halves with 10 one-minute long jams in each half. During each jam, there are 6 people in total on the track, with 1 jammer and 2 blockers from each team. The jammer wears a star in their helmet and gets a point every time they lap the opposing team's blockers. The blockers try to stop the other team's jammer from scoring points while also helping their own jammer get through. There are some other benefits for players as well, since Rolla is funded by paid memberships. If you've watched previous episodes of this series, you'll recall how much time it takes to be in a flat track roller derby league, since everything is run by volunteers. Cupid, who is the roller derby program coordinator at Rolla, but also a member of Terminal City Roller Derby, at one point was spending 40 hours a week doing volunteer work at Terminal City. At Rolla, you just pay your membership fees and then you can show up to play.
I think most folks that play short track that have an experience in another league previously love it because they don't have to do the organizing, right? They show up for their practice time and they do a little practice and then they go out and play like an athlete.
There's also another big pain point with flat track roller derby, which definitely got Lulu up in arms when I asked her about it.
But it can't be. I don't believe that. I cannot be an inherent part of the sport. I will not accept that. I will not accept that. I don't believe that toxicity is an inherent part of roller derby. I just don't accept that. I don't.
I've personally found that one of the hardest parts about being in a roller derby league is the amount of conflict involved. It's actually so common that the roller derby community has an affectionate term for it: derby drama.
Derby drama. Well, so it's when you get a whole bunch of people all together with a bunch of different opinions, and also they're playing a sport where they're allowed to hit each other, I think feelings get very big. It is just personal drama, really. I think usually it comes from trying to make rules about who can do what, and some people deciding or feeling that that is unfair, I think, is usually where it stems from. I don't think it's inherent to the sport because I don't think we've had a lot of it here at Rolla, and I think that that was a conscious choice that we've tried to build into our program here, is like actually addressing the things that we felt caused it in some of the other leagues that we had been a part of.
The version of short track roller derby that we play at Rolla is low contact, meaning there shouldn't really be any big hits, although that does happen by accident sometimes. This makes it a little easier on the body overall, and also makes it a lower pressure environment for people to come and try derby for the first time. But that doesn't mean our games are not exciting.
So I legitimately said to my best friend the next day that the game we played on Saturday was the best derby game of my life. And I think it was.
What was really cool about the last short track game we played is everyone was, like, I would say, kind of working at their best. The game felt really good, really cohesive. There was a lot of communication.
I find the game always starts very low-key and then we all get competitive and it seems to get a little spicy at the end. We always do seem to have something kind of dramatic happen near the end, not with intention, it just kind of always seems to happen that way.
All of the best derby moments happen on the track, always, always. And it is when your team is there with you together and you feel like you're achieving the thing together. You've all like clicked and maybe you don't have to talk about it and it's just happening. And I felt like that is what was happening with both teams on Saturday.
We had a lot of different abilities on the track at the same time too, like some people who were less comfortable with being hit and some people who have been playing for like, 20 years, 15, 20 years. And we all came together really cohesively.
Rolla games are always very close in points, I mean, because you don't get as many points as you do in flat track.
And the game actually ended on a tie. So that just felt like a really good moment because I felt like everyone was winning.
I think everybody that played got the thing that they wanted out of it. And so I think it made me feel really good. It made me feel like what we're doing here is successful, this is the place to be for roller derby, for me right now.
I love getting letters from people in the community. Someone wrote me a letter saying that when they turned 50, they decided they wanted to give themselves the gift of joy. And learning to roller skate and joining Rolla Skate Club was part of giving themselves that gift of joy. They said that being part of this community has changed them as a person, that it's the best part of their week to come here.
One of the classes I come is like Monday after, like evening, and I'm like, oh, I always feel a little sluggish like right before, right? But like I always know, I'm always gonna come home like happier from that class. So like it gets me to go even if I'm like, not really feeling like it. I will walk out of that like door like happier and like just glad I went.
I want more people to know about Rolla, and because it's just such a fun place to come and like bring your friends and try a thing. Like that's how I started. I was just like, I don't know, I'll just try this random thing, and here's this amazing community I've now found.
Rolla Skate Club offers to the Vancouver community just an inclusive space. I think it's not only an inclusive space, but it is, I think it's just a place for you to try something and be seen as something that maybe you don't consider yourself being seen as outside. Like there was almost a persona the first year that I went there, and I just felt, the second I walked in, I just felt different about myself.
I grew up with a lot of 1950s doctrine about your body and how it should look. And so being here and just skating, like it just makes you so, as I said, at peace in your body. And as long as your body is doing the things you want it to do, like it doesn't matter what it looks like. There is just no body type limitations with roller skating. And that's what I love here. I just don't feel self-conscious at all anymore. So.
When you have that confidence in your body, that resonates out into the world, and it gives you that like confidence in yourself that then allows you to bring your best self out into the world and the community.
The community at Rolla is just so welcoming, and roller skating, not just Rolla, but like everyone I meet who roller skates is just an amazing human being. And they're so friendly, so welcoming. Like they don't care if you're an expert, if you're a beginner, they are there to have you join them and be a part of it. Yeah, come join us.